This particular ceremony. These are visuals from just a short while ago on your screens where India's Defence Minister completed a photo op with the Rafale aircraft that's being stationed at the Dassault Aviation's facility in Bordeaux in France, marking the beginning of the purchase of 36 Rafale jets. Professor Brahmachalani, this deal has been in the news for all kinds of reasons, but mostly what it does is it also is a great statement of intent from the central government. In fact, we heard that from India's Air Force Chief Bhadoria, who talked about the way, the major shift in the way the central government is handling terrorism.
Yes, this was a government-to-government deal between the Indian and the French governments. Unfortunately, given the fractious nature of Indian democracy, the deal was politicized, and the opposition sought to make political mileage out of the deal by making allegations of all sorts. Fortunately, the deal was not undermined. It did not collapse because of opposition allegations. But it did appear at one point that this Rafale deal had become sort of a millstone around the government's neck. Today, fortunately, things look so different. The opposition allegations have dissipated. The Supreme Court did not lend credence to the opposition allegations. The Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice, examined the allegations against the Rafale deal, but found nothing abnormal or wrong with the deal. So once the deal got a clean chit from the Supreme Court, it went ahead, and today the Air Force is getting the aircraft that it wanted. It wanted the Rafale. It evaluated the Rafale to be the best buy in the current scenario, or in terms of what was available to India. The fact is that the offers to India were limited, and India had to choose one of the offers, and the Rafale was what the Indian Air Force wanted. So finally, the Air Force is getting what it wanted.
The Indian Air Force is getting what it wanted. Finally, is the word coming from Professor Brahmachalani as we continue to bring you these live visuals from the ceremony of India taking delivery of the first of the 36 Rafale fighter jets that France's Dassault Aviation will be providing to the Indian Air Force by September 2022. Rafale fighter jets will boost the Indian Air Force's strike capability multifold and give an edge over China and Pakistan. We still have Air Marshal S.P.P. Sinha with us on the phone. And Air Marshal S.P.P. Sinha, it is not very often that a fighter jet becomes a part of the collective conscious so much, and Rafale for sure will go down as one of the most spoken about weapons that the Indian military has had in decades.
Can you come again? Your voice is getting distorted.
Right, I was saying that the fact that there's been so much talk about Rafale, so much headline making about Rafale, that the Rafale fighter jet is certainly one of the most talked about weapons of its time in decades.
Yeah, true. Like Professor Brahmachalani brought out that there were a lot of allegations that were being made in the past, and it was in the headlines because of that. And post Balakot, the public interest has come alive as to what happens in an air battle, because after Kargil, we have not had a situation where the public was witness to an air battle. And even the Prime Minister had made a statement that had Rafales been different, the result post Balakot during the Pakistani retaliation would have been much, much different. And this is what has arisen people's interest in this Rafale aircraft, and that is how even the media is giving a lot of coverage to the induction of the Rafale now.
Right. Stay with us, sir. We also have Air Vice Marshal Sunil Nanotkar joining us on the phone line. Air Vice Marshal Sunil Nanotkar, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast on this momentous occasion. Talk to us. It is the 87th anniversary of Air Force Day celebrations, and there's another celebration of another kind for the Indian Air Force taking place in Bordeaux in France.
Yeah, first of all, compliments to the citizens of India and particularly to the people of the Air Force, personnel serving in the Air Force on the 87th anniversary of the Indian Air Force. We had a wonderful parade display today, and the new chief addressed the entire gathering there. And what he brought out was that ours being one of the finest Air Force in the world, has displayed various facets of its capability in the years gone by, and Air Force is certainly getting geared up to be prepared to take on more challenges in the future. And today, for the first time, we saw on display Chinook and Apache helicopters, which have arrived on Indian soil in the recent past. Also, you spoke about the ceremony in France. Of course, first aircraft has been delivered to Indian Air Force, and our Raksha Mantri has accepted that aircraft on behalf of the entire nation. And he has performed Shastra Puja on Rafale. And it certainly is important because it is one of the finest weapon and weapon system as a whole we are inducting in our Air Force. So I think one of the very momentous occasion, momentous day, one of the very important day in the, it will go in the history of the Indian Air Force.
Air Vice Marshal Nanotkar joining us on this broadcast. Sir, I also wanted to ask you, it's not every day that an addition to the Indian Air Force gets celebrated by the country across the board. It doesn't happen that often.
Hello, sorry, your voice was distorted.
Air Vice Marshal Sunil Nanotkar, I wanted to ask you, it's not every day that an addition to the Indian Air Force gets celebrated by all across the board.
Yes, of course. It doesn't happen this way very often, and we are also celebrating Dussehra. So we are getting rid of all the evil. Hopefully, with the induction of better weapon systems, better platforms, better equipment, support systems, we should be going from strength to strength, and ensure that our borders are safe at all times. And our adversaries, take notice of this and don't mess around with us anymore.
And on that note, I wanted to ask you, this sends out a strong message to both China and Pakistan.
Yeah, of course. This is all towards the national composite national power build-up, and this is part of it. Once your defense services are strong, economically you can progress very safely and well, and that is what all of us are looking forward to.
And I also wanted to help us understand, today you had Wing Commander Abhinandan Vardhaman do a fly past on the MiG21 Bison. The MiG21 Bison has been a bulwark of the Indian Air Force for so many years, and now Rafale will just take that up by several notches.
Definitely. First of all, we have inducted LCS Cordon, and compliments to Abhinandan to get back to the cockpit and continue flying the Bison that he was flying at the time of this Balakot strikes. And not only Abhinandan, everyone who has participated in Balakot operation has participated in today's flypast. The entire Mirage crew, the Jaguar crew, and of course the MiG-21 pilots who participated in this operation today flew past and saluted the new air chief. So I think Rafale Rafale today will not only do great addition to our operational capability build-up, but in days to come, I think the new inductions that are planned to be taken up will give a right boost to our overall Air Force's operational capability in terms of Rafale as well as our own LCA being inducted into the Air Force.
And, tell us, we are supposed to complete taking delivery of 36 Rafale fighter jets by September 2022. How soon can the Rafale fighter jets be put into operational use by India?
Yeah, see, any platform that you induct newly, it takes about 2 to 3 years to for the crew to get fully operational in all roles. And Rafale being a multi-role aircraft, it is going to take that much of time. So we have been given delivery of the first aircraft now, and the first 4 aircraft should be ready. And our crew, which is sitting in France, they have already started their training on the Rafale aircraft, and I think by May next year they should be coming to India with the complement that is supposed to be delivered by then, and they will form the first cordon. Now, once next year they come to India, it will take about 1.5 to 2 years more for the crew to get fully operational on all roles that Rafale can perform.
Air Vice Marshal Sunil Lanodkar joining us and explaining to us how this will play out on the ground in terms of inducting the Rafale fighter jet into the Indian Air Force. Even as we continue to bring you live visuals from Bordeaux in France, from the Dassault Aviation facility. Dassault Aviation, the maker of the Rafale fighter jets. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh first arriving in Paris in France, meeting up with France's President Emmanuel Macron at the Élysée Palace, or the Presidential Palace in Paris, after which he reached Bordeaux in France, where he began the ceremony to take delivery of the first of the 36 Rafale fighter jets that India will be procuring from France. The Rafale fighter jets expected to be one of the most crucial additions to India's Air Force. And we continue to bring you live coverage. You can see presentations being made of Make in India as part of this ceremony to take delivery of the Rafale jet. The total deal is worth somewhere around 59,000 crore rupees and has come under a fair share of its own controversies, but still what's happening today is important. India beginning the purchase of the Rafale fighter jet from France, and the ceremony taking place on an important day for India for 2 reasons. One is the fact that it is the 87th anniversary celebrations of India's Air Force Day. The Indian Air Force's 87th anniversary being celebrated today with a flypast, spectacular flypast that included the MiG21 Bison, on which Wing Commander Abhinandan was flying, along with all of the other top Air Force choppers and jets on display today in India at the Hindon Air Base near Delhi. At the same time, India's Defence Minister flying to France to take delivery of the Rafale fighter jets. 4 of these will be in India by May 2020, that's May next year, and all 36 of them will be in India by September 2022. Typically, it takes anywhere between 2 to 3 years for new weapon systems to become fully operational. And that's the time that Rafale is expected to take, the Rafale 4th generation aircraft that India is purchasing. And it will give India a significant edge over the neighbors on both sides of its boundaries, both Pakistan and China. Bear in mind, India's Air Force Chief Air Marshal Rakesh Bhadoria played a key role in the signing of the Rafale jet deal with France, and the first aircraft has the notings of RB001, RB referring to Rakesh Bhadoria as a tribute to him.